What if you looked at this new year as an opportunity to embrace and take ownership of your amazing design? Hi, friend. Welcome to Amazing by Design. I am so glad you hit play today. I'm Lucianne, and this is a space where we step out of the noise and into honest conversations about what's really happening in our hearts as we navigate everyday life through the lens of our faith. Today, we're welcoming in a new year. And the start of a new year has a way of stirring all kinds of thoughts: hopeful ones, uncertain ones, and sometimes a quiet longing, along with the unspoken pressure to have it all figured out. Chances are you may already be feeling that weight, the pressure to decide, to plan, to get it all right. But what if today isn't about doing more or becoming someone new? What if today is about listening? And that's where I want to begin our conversation, with something far deeper than resolutions or goal setting. I want to talk about the dreams God placed inside of you. Not the dreams the world says you should want, not the ones that are rooted in pressure, perfection, or performance, but the dreams that live quietly beneath all of that noise, the ones that gently tug at your heart. Personally, I've never been a fan of New Year's resolutions. And here's why. They often come with the subtle message that you're somehow behind, that you need to strive harder, do more, or become a better version of yourself. Today, I'm not offering you pressure. Today is about receiving revelation, the kind that brings clarity, calm, and a pathway forward where you get to walk hand in hand with God. Now, if you're someone who thrives on planning and setting goals, nothing's gone wrong. This message is still for you, because listening for what God is speaking to your heart will always bring more peace, more direction, and more purpose. So go ahead, grab your coffee or your tea, get comfortable, and settle in with me. Let's have a conversation about the dreams within you, the ones that might just make this year different in a very meaningful way. Here's where we create space. Space to notice something perhaps you may have pushed aside or haven't given yourself permission to explore in a long time. And that leads into one simple question. When was the last time you sat quietly and allowed yourself to dream? Let me share why this question is so important, especially at the start of a new year. The dreams we hold, the ones that ignite us, stir us, and stretch us, the ones that cause our hearts to leap, are God-given. They aren't found in the cultural messages that tell us we need to do better or to be better at something this year. They aren't found in the goals written in planners. Have you realized that those tend to overwhelm us after just a few weeks? And they aren't found in the things we think we should accomplish, because those rarely feel authentic. I'm talking about the dreams that God planted in your spirit long before life got busy and they got buried. It's the ones you never really let go of, the ones you haven't shared with anyone. They're dreams that make you feel alive when you think about them. And yet, if we're being honest, so many of those dreams take a back seat under the weight of everyday life. We tuck them away for that elusive someday. We tell ourselves someday when life slows down, someday when the fear quiets, someday when we feel ready, and someday when we're not carrying so much. But what if your someday is now? Over the years, I've come to understand that dreams don't get buried because they're impossible. They get buried because fear speaks so loud that truth gets drowned out. Fear doesn't hesitate to shout, "Who do you think you are? You don't know enough. What will people think? You're too young. You're too old. You're too late. There's no way you can afford to do that." And then insecurity jumps up and adds its voice. "You aren't brave enough. You'll mess it up. Someone else could certainly do it better." And before we realize it, we've made room for that fear and that insecurity to take root in our hearts. And that's when dreams get buried, under all the stress and the belief that our desires are too much, or not holy enough, or will require more than we have to give. But here's the truth. Dreams don't show up to torment you. Dreams show up to guide you. They aren't random. They aren't foolish. They fit the shape of your God-given design. They are woven into the very fabric of who you are, placed there intentionally by God. The longings of your heart reveal something about who God created you to be. With that in mind, here we are, standing at the beginning of a new year. The world has a lot to say right now, urging you to make a plan, to fix what's broken, and to change everything overnight. But what if, in this moment, God isn't asking you to rush forward at all? What if He's simply inviting you to pause, to breathe, and to notice what's already within you? The desires, the longings, the quiet nudges. It's those dreams inside of you that carry heaven's imprint. They reflect the very way God handcrafted you, intentionally, thoughtfully, and with purpose. Have you considered what would happen if you gave yourself permission to simply explore what God has designed for you? To consider what's possible, even if it feels like a stretch, even if it's unfamiliar, even if it's a little scary. What if you looked at this new year as an opportunity to embrace and take ownership of your amazing design? And as we step into this new year together, I want to offer you a few questions to gently guide your reflection. What dream have you buried that God might be inviting you to revisit? What fear, insecurity, or doubt has talked you out of taking even a small step towards that dream? What might shift if you stopped waiting for someday and simply allowed yourself to be curious today? Not to build a logical plan, not to force anything, but simply to take notice, to listen, to acknowledge that that desire is still there. I want to share this distinction with you. Goals, they're often formed from pressure. Dreams, on the other hand, are rooted in God-given design. Goals say, work harder. Dreams, they whisper, come closer. Goals demand performance, while dreams invite alignment. Whenever we set goals without first listening to God, we find ourselves striving. But when we allow God to fan the spark of the dreams that He placed inside of us, something begins to shift. We begin to show up each day grounded in who He created us to be. I'm being reminded of the scripture in Proverbs that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. For me, this has become a grounding scripture in my life. My friend, perhaps today is the day that you gently pull that dream back out, dust it off, and hold it close. Ask God what He sees when He looks at it. You don't have to know every step. You don't have to feel ready. And you don't need anyone else's permission. Just let the dream breathe. Take the time to look with spiritual eyes and take notice of what awaits you right here on this side of heaven. God is not withholding from you. The resources of heaven are available to you even now. I want to offer you to consider this thought as you step into the new year. Your someday might just be today. At any point during this conversation, if something stirred in you, if a dream resurfaced, or a quiet part of you whispered, maybe this is my time, you don't have to walk that journey alone. Inside my coaching program, this is where we explore dreams together and align them with the truth of your God-given design. If you're ready to take your next step with support, I invite you to join me. The link to a complimentary discovery call is in the show notes. May your new year be filled with God's love and His abundant blessings. Happy New Year, my friend. And carry this reminder with you always. You are chosen. You are loved. You are amazing by design.